Welcome back to the Tailosive Tech Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined with Randy and a cyborg. Mike has early access to some kind of mixed reality.
Is this early
headset.
access? I feel like I'm the last person opening it up.
Oh, is that the Apple AR mixed VR? Oh my God, guys, it's here!
Reality Pro. For those who are sick of regular reality.
Reality Pro OS Plus.
I'm having such a fun
Max
time here
Ultra.
in the metaverse, just sitting here, surrounded
Good, because you look stupid. So I hope you're having fun there. Because you look ridiculous.
Why does the metaverse require real dollars?
Oh my God.
You don't need real dollars. You can use crypto.
Oh, good. But crypto costs real dollars.
Thank God.
Sounds
will
like you
take-
have a problem.
I will
Sounds
take
like you're
Monopoly money.
That is a form of currency. in a
Those
way.
are
It's just
good
not
as
legal
dollars,
tender.
sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead, count them up. Every cent's accounted for. I'm just going to write IOUs.
Yeah.
That's just as good as money.
That's why I'm buying up
That's a lot of
as many
IOUs.
Monopoly games as I can to stack all the currency together.
But that also costs real money.
Dang it! You got
What
me
have
there.
I done?
What have I done?
No.
So what are your first impressions on the VR, Mike?
It's
do
very
you think?
dark. I can't see anything. So yeah, as you can tell, well, first
Use
of all,
the
I don't have the
force,
PlayStation.
Mike.
I don't have the PS5. Shut up. I don't have the PS5 in here, so I haven't even plugged this in yet. I think right now
Oh, great.
the
So this is
controllers
just
are
a
still
prop.
charging. So this is definitely just a prop, and I can't see anything. Actually, there is.
Oh, thank
like-
God. I just thought you were being stupid for a second. I'm just glad.
I know, me too, right? There is.
Are those
some
cameras?
faint- No, that's just my face.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So I haven't been able to check it out. I just unboxed
just
it.
threw up
I
a
think
little.
I unboxed it just a few hours before this podcast, and I haven't been able to plug it in yet.
He said, it's
Okay.
my face. Oh, good, Mike. You got a little something on you. You know what? You'll figure it out. You got a little something.
I am
to-
tempted
It
to put
looks
stickers
quite
on the
large.
front of this, though.
Is it heavy on the head?
No, surprisingly not. There's a little bit of pressure on my nose, but I feel like I just need to dial this in a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit.
called
'cause
your nostril.
I think you should put stickers of eyes on the outside so that you look like Sid
little
the Sloth.
googly eyes. That'd be great. That might not be a bad idea. I was thinking I've got so many like Apple stickers, just paste them all over here and then just make Sony
That might work.
be like, what? Why? Why?
Official
Why would you
leak
do that?
right here confirmed. The Apple headset. And we
You
could
can't
put like
use
a
PlayStation controllers with the Apple TV, so why can't you use PlayStation VR with Reality OS, you know?
slap a sticker,
Ooh.
sell for $3,000 and call it a leak.
Profit.
You can
Profit.
buy the exact same headset from Apple for $3,000. And they put the PlayStation price in the corner with a line through it.
You should absolutely
This-
take a screen grab of this, Drew, and then plaster Tailosive Tech handle all over it and say leak.
You like that meme?
I loved
That
it.
was good.
That was hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah. I guess to wrap
It's
this
getting
up,
to
so I can
that
take this
point.
thing off of my face. I'll give a nice little review next week on how I. Think
Are you
about
getting
this
tired
since-
of it?
I'll-
Is it wearing out your nose?
Not yet, but I would like to
Okay.
see. It would be nice to
Do
see.
you feel like Darth Vader yet? For once, let me look at you with my own
Oh,
eyes.
eyes. Wonderful.
make me destroy you.
Drew,
You
Help
don't
me.
know the power of the dark side.
That's good.
I am a
ready,
master,
Hi.
like my
It
father before me. Well, actually, Luke, Anakin never was.
It does have a bit of a stormtrooper vibe to it, I'll say.
It got something going on.
I guess here's something for the audience then. For I guess those that maybe see it or know what the PSVR 2 looks like. Let me know what you think I should personalize this with, because I am planning on keeping this for a very long time. So any like decals, livery, stickers, anything like that.
How's
I
my
am open
driving?
to any suggestion?
Right across the front. That's
That'd
what
be
I would
great.
do. Or you could do the
I do plan on.
put the Monroe Live sticker on it. You have one of those, don't you?
The signed Monroe Live sticker that I've got here. Yes.
Hey, boys and
that'd
girls.
be a great idea.
Yeah. I would like
You
to
should
see
put
that.
a single Cyclops eye right there in the center.
The Eye of
Hey,
Sauron.
you guys! Oh.
The eyes. So
I'd
many
like
good
that.
ideas. Okay, I'm gonna take this thing off. Don't say
Okay.
anything mean about me. That
All right.
You haven't already.
Okay. Oh,
Mike is an amazing
God.
person. I appreciate him so much, and he puts a lot of time into the podcast, and I really want him to stick around, and I'd love to visit him again, and I'm planning on scheduling another meetup with him the next time we can
That's
make it
so
down.
mean, dude. Why would you say that?
It's okay. I don't think he could hear me, so
Yeah.
we're good. And because I'm editing the podcast, you can't even pre-listen to what I just said. So take that, Mike.
Now you have to watch the episode. Now you have to go back and watch the show.
I already
get
got
that
enough of
much
that
more
with your
watch time.
interview with Nick. You didn't want to interview me or Drew. I see how it is.
If we're going to do that, I didn't get no invite to go sit down with some design chief.
He had
I didn't
Randy.
get to choose to not be there. They expected me to be there.
Randy one-upped us by getting someone even more hard to reach than Jason Hill. And you
That's so
guys,
That's
I
so
got
true.
Nick on.
yeah, that's not a joke, by the way. That's just
Hey.
a fact. But I really enjoyed your guys' podcast, and
Thank
I wanted to dive deeper since this is tech related. The tech podcast is, but you guys touched on ChatGPT and the new Bing search and everything, and that's definitely become a hype word. It's come up in my comments a lot, but I am very I'll just be upfront and honest. I haven't done a video on it because I'm pretty dismissive. I'm not that excited by it. I don't think it's going to be as disruptive as people act. I think that it probably will be disruptive in education, but I'm curious if you guys think this is going to displace a large number of jobs, or it's going to be something that everyday people use regularly, because there's a lot of pushback I've got from my audience. People say, no, this is going to change everything. This is the next big thing. And I want to hear your guys' cases for or against. I don't really know where Mike stands, but
Yeah, Mike,
kinda
go
heard
ahead,
what
because
Randy-
I spoke for a bit with Nick. I don't. You know what's funny? Real quick, while I'm buying Mike some time while doing this. That particular doing that thing with Nick was so like just the stars aligned at that exact moment. Kind of like when
I
you
could
finally
tell.
you
Yeah.
got to do the thing with Marquez, and it was like
Yeah,
so last
yeah.
second. That Nick is my Marquez, I guess. Hey, buddy, I bet you would have never. Hey,
they're about the same height too.
and it's about the same, elusiveness about getting, it's hard to get in contact sometimes.
Nah, Marquez is way easier to get a hold of. than I
So-
disagree.
Because it was such a rare treat for me to just have those conversations, that long conversation with him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I saw on YouTube today. I think you did it today as a recording this, that you shared out the thing so people, listeners of
Yeah,
the show.
well, it was like I was like, oh, cool, they did another episode, and it was super long. It was like 2.5 hours. So I was like, I want to watch this because I want to know how Nick's doing, and I
Same.
haven't spoken with him for a while. So I watched it, and then in the middle of it, I was like, you guys are talking about so much tech stuff. Like, this is right up, like all the people
Yeah.
asking, where's Nick? Where's Nick? Where's Nick? Be like, this is perfect for them. So
I think it's perfect.
Hey,
Yeah,
if you guys
by
are
you-
wondering where Nick is,
there
you go.
There you go. Because it even as did you finish watching the whole thing? I have not. I don't remember where I said it, but so I'm rewatching it right now because it's so little. I get to talk with him that to me, like I'm actually rewatching it because I want to make sure I digest everything that he was telling me again in the moment. We're going back and forth. There's a
We
little bit
have
of
to
Starlink.
study every word we get. From Nick,
We were
you know?
Starlinking, and we talked about it after the recording.
Nick
There was some
was
stuff.
Starlinking. Wow.
I don't know if
I'm
he
not
straight
the
showed
only
it, but
one.
he has the Starlink right there.
It did. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
he
could
was
see
using
it.
Starlink on that, and so we much like we experienced with Mike, there were some hiccups that were happening. So I wanted to go back just to make sure I caught everything. And it was such a pleasant conversation to have with him. By doing that, I realized that at one point where I got to, at least right now, I'm not done watching it, that Nick hit on a point that we've all echoed, and it's a miracle that we still make it work today, is that just the coordination of everything. We're recording at a different time today this week because it was the only way we can make it happen. So the idea of getting him like to even participate with us, making it a group of 4, is darn near impossible at this point without a compromise happening.
3 would have been challenging because I don't know when you recorded that, but I promise you I wouldn't have been available whenever it was.
Yes.
There's very few times in the week where I can just block out a couple hours like that we need. So it was like, okay, finding 2 people with free time is pretty easy. 3 people is pretty challenging. 4 is near impossible, especially when they have full-time jobs outside of that. So yeah, I completely understand why you did it, and I'm very grateful you did because it was a good time. But
with that,
ChatGPT.
Yes, with that, I was just recapping. Mike,
yes.
What are your thoughts on that? I hope I bought you enough time.
Sure. You bought enough time for me to give it to ChatGPT. And
oh no!
ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, give me a case against ChatGPT implementation, and it gave 5 points specifically on bias and discrimination, privacy, accuracy, dependence, and job displacement, in which you hit on that one before I put this in.
But this is not what you feel, Mike. I want to know what you feel.
Yeah. I know what ChatGPT feels.
Well, you called me a robot at the beginning, so here's my thoughts.
No, I called
I
you
am
an idiot.
Here's my confession, guys.
Okay. I'm teasing. I love you, Mike.
I'm
just
actually.
playing.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. You take that back.
Player's gonna play.
You take that.
Okay.
Back. All right, go ahead.
That was a well thought out response from ChatGPT.
I know, right? So,
in 2 seconds.
It actually took a while for it to type. It was as if it was typing it, and it took a long time. I was very surprised. My actual thoughts on it, I didn't even read all that. I think it's a really cool tool. I think you hit on it in your discussion with Nick, Randy, and encapsulated my thoughts pretty well. It's kind of like I already forgot the name of it just now. The drawing picture AI art.
DALL-E?
DALL-E. It's like DALL-E. It's a really cool thing to like play with, and I just demonstrated it here with just copy paste. Let's see what happens, and it gave a decent response. Grazing over it right now, but I think at the end of the day, it's just that it's a nice, cool toy that can be implemented as a tool in some sort of ways, and it can be abused by students for a lot of projects in which I've already seen, and I'm not even in school. I've seen some people abuse this tool in that manner, in which my answer to those people, or I guess my statement to those people, is all you're doing is just starving yourself in the future for a skill that you could develop now. But beside that, I think it's neat. I think it's really cool. I think it's very fun.
Does it scare you?
Not really. I think it's just a smarter tool. It's just another. It's what you brought up as well, Drew. It's just kind of like the early internet AI that we interacted with that had very kind of human-like discussions, but of course you could just get going in a loop and all that. I think this is just the next step in it, which in the eyes of that early internet AI discussion webpage and all that, this is extremely worrying for that and very impressive. I think it's still impressive now, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And I think, if anything...
Could you see it replacing jobs?
Many. I think it can replace many jobs. I think this is a really good idea for kind of things like the Google duplex or whatever it was that was able to call barbershops or anything like that and make an appointment. This is probably the next step because it can probably predict from your calendar or anything else if it gets implemented in that way with Bing or whatever, when your availabilities are and what your tendency for what you're doing and how you're feeling, not interacts, but how that impacts if you're going to take that appointment for a haircut or going to play tennis with a friend and stuff like that. This thing will be able to predict stuff like that, which I think is cool. I think it'll be a great tool for scheduling your day. But like most things, you could just opt out of it and you don't need to have it control your life. I think it's great for those that need some of that structure or just need some assistance in some way. Kind of like I use this when I was a student. It's I forget what it was, like Easy Essay or whatever. Like it's basically an essay writer. You give it a topic and it writes an essay. And at the end of the day, I think it's great at generating ideas or like things that you didn't think of for a topic. Like, I totally forgot about that. That's an actual thing that happened either in the history of whatever or this person of interest that I'm writing about. So I think it's great at like getting the gears turning. But I don't necessarily think it's a good replacement or something that people can rely on 100%. So in that way, I think it's fun. I have no use for it. I'm not a student anymore, so I can't abuse it in that manner. The only fun ways that I implement it is in this podcast from the 2 times I've actually used it, and it's been documented on this podcast now. And that's it. I'm definitely not the demographic that needs it, just because a lot of my skills as an engineer require you to think, and you can't just feed that to Chat GPT and have it come up with a solution that's accurate to the situation that you're dealing with or anything else like that. You can tell it to like plot something or graph something, and that's great for mathematics, and you can also ask it different engineering questions, but when it comes to the actual practice of engineering, it's not going to be able to come up with a plot for your specific aerofoil that you're trying to test or anything else like that. It's still limited.
Okay. And how about you, Randy?
Did you do it too, Randy?
No, I wanted to just write quick bullets, so I wanted to hit all the notes on it. Because I know I talked about it with Nick, and I've talked about it definitely off record, so I don't know what I've already said out loud, whether it was on the thing with Nick or in general, so I'm going to kind of say it all here. In no particular order, so this is not it's not a structured analysis here, but this is what I got. I used it only once, and I've used it to test lyrics in the style of a band, just to see what that would look like. It was generic enough. I was like, okay, it's kind of there. It was a cool little, play around toy experience with it because it was harmless. Write me lyrics about this in the style of that. Boom. Cool. All right, that's a thing. And that's the only time I've ever used it personally. So that's my hands-on limitations with the AI. Okay. Buzzword AI. Okay. I realized that I wanted to address that. I wanted to address that Okay, well, since I said buzzword, I'll go there. It's a buzzword. It's no different than algorithm. It's an algorithm. It's generating something from previous collected information. When they show it, or when you see things trending about it being sentient and stuff like that, it's a gimmick. It's not really sentient. It's just repeating what it thinks it's supposed to say in a sequence that feels accurate for its time. And it's not like doing a deep fake where you manipulate a person to say certain things or to perform certain acts or whatever, where you have to keep being more proactive with that stuff. It's just You say something, it gives you a response. You do something else, it responds. It's a very back and forth thing. So it's not really sentient because it can't do the things it says it does. It's limited in just generating text for you when it comes specifically with Chat GPT. And I remember, I told this to Nick. If you go into the App Store right now, and I encourage our listeners to do the same, and you go into the photo video category of it, you will see the most popular or the top what they all have in their title now or in the description is AI. Oh, it does AI enhancements on the photo. It gets rid of the blemishes. It color corrects this. It auto focuses that to make it a sharper. And they keep saying AI. And AI is the buzzword, and that's what OpenAI is. It became the new buzzword of 2023 that was last year for crypto or NFTs and alike. But what AI is just an algorithm. It's not like we say it as artificial intelligence in the literal sense, but it's an algorithm of just curating the information that it thinks is the most accurate. But because of it, it's never going to be 100% precise on anything. The more specific that you try to get with it, and I've seen Microsoft try to be very hyper specific with their testing on it, the more susceptible it is to being inaccurate, the more you dig in and then you give it follow-up prompts for it. So it's just a buzzword. So moving away from AI or algorithms or technology, this thing that they're doing, Microsoft, Bing, Chat GPT, is it going to replace jobs? Maybe some, but it's not like those weren't highly sought, desirable jobs anyway. If people are using it, I've seen it like, oh, help me code this thing, build an algorithm for this, build a codex for that. Stuff like that has already existed in the past with templates. Then it's just templates at this point, and what you're doing is just you're refining your template. So your job, you're not gonna go and apply for a job about being a coder and then turn to Chat GPT to do your job for you, because it would be utilized as a tool for whatever the client wants at that point. It would just be one more, let me run this test and see how that looks. Ultimately, it's not, it wouldn't be Chat GPT's signature on that, that coding. It would be yours. And so when you put your name on it, if that code fails, it's your butt, not the software. They'll be like, all right, well then you're wrong. You didn't do it right. So no, I don't think it's going to replace all these millions of jobs. It's not going to become sentient like that. It's just going to be utilized as a tool, no different than. Actually, I'll get to that in a sec. I'll get to that in 1 second. Schooling will adapt. If it's going to attack the school system. I remember a time where they just wanted to see the math answer. And then when calculators became so accessible with everything that we do, it wasn't about the answer. They want you to show your work. And that's how you get full points of a credit or whatever for example, with math. You need to show your work. Most of the time when I remember doing this in college, I don't really remember ultimately just having to show the final answer. And then that was my full, oh, you got the full points. That's part of the point for something like that. I had to show my work. I did it for math. I did it for statistics. I did it for et cetera, anything that's more analytical. Anything that Chat GPT could do, it gives you the answer that you might be looking for. If it's if it is binary, right or wrong, and it can give you that answer, if that's going to hurt the school system, then the school system needs to adjust and adapt. That means it's going to become dated. It's being challenged. It's not being threatened. It's not going to be obsolete. It just needs to adapt. It's being challenged. How do you work around that? Have the schools implement the software then in a way, especially since, Microsoft for the longest time held Windows is on most computers, like school computers and stuff like that. And now that there's an enterprise section of it, integrate it. Use it as an experiment for it about how you can maximize productivity out of it. Because what Mike said is true in the sense that, like, if someone's just trying to look for the answer instead of learning, it's a missed opportunity anyway. A cheater's going to cheat. Whether they get caught or not, that's a whole different thing. If you're not really interested in the subject, you were never interested. The Chat GPT or a Google search or going on certain websites that have answers for school stuff and you can buy the answers, that stuff has always kind of been there. If you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat. If your end goal is to get a piece of paper that says you're certified in something or you have an education in something and you didn't really care about the knowledge of it, it was a missed opportunity anyway. And then that's a whole nother conversation about the school system as a whole. But be that as it may, the school system will adapt to the technology today because it has to. The tech won't stop. And school's temporary. Everyone in school eventually has an end date of it unless, you work in the profession. You're not a student forever in the academic sense, just in the life sense. So there you go with that. Okay, the part that I kind of ignored for a second, but I'm coming back to it, is this is another version of voice assistant. All right, we had Siri. Siri didn't change anything. We thought this is gonna be the newest thing. Oh my God, we talk to Siri and it's gonna blah 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 blah. And what did it do? All these years later, not that much.
Timers.
That's how I see. I see.
What's the time?
Chat GPT. Yeah. Or
What's the weather?
what?
What's the humidity level in this room?
Thank
Things you ask your HomePod.
HomePod. Right. You trained yourself in a way to be able to speak to the voice assistant in a certain way, so that way you can get the most optimized information. This will be a refinement of that, maybe voice to text or just text, but what we're doing now is just a refinement on how we interact with software to give us the information that we're looking for. It's not problem solution based of like, Chat GPT, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Should I go to school or should I just continue pursuing? It's going to give you some doohickey. Maybe it'll give you some. I don't know because I've never used the software. But that if you're going to rely on that or take financial advice from that, you're dumb. It's like, don't do that. That's stupid. Stop it. Get help.
Yeah.
So this is just an advancement of voice assistant. The obvious limitations I've already addressed, but then with Chat GPT specifically, it's offline. It goes up to 2021, so it doesn't have the latest information. There's limitations, and it's purposely bricked in certain aspects of it. People are trying to find loopholes and ways to break through it, and sometimes it makes it work, or they keep asking it until it works, but ultimately it's not the end-all, be-all for solutions. So in that sense, it's not that big of a deal. In regards to the Bing implementation, it's just Microsoft being a company competitive with Alphabet or Google. It is just Microsoft competing with what they've already had in place, trying to make themselves stand out from a Google search. How can we make Bing relevant? And they beat Google to the punch about getting attention on this stuff. We've seen Google do this with their own AI stuff, the phone call to the salon and the ums and the oohs and the like that was cool to see, and they've implemented it. It hasn't rolled out for security reasons and for practicality reasons. It's not that effective, but it's a cool, like, hey, look at this party trick. This is Microsoft just trying to get a cool party trick going for you. It's cool in the sense that hey, here's a new display to inquire about something. But at the end of the day, it's still a web search. You're still doing web searches on the thing. And if you break away from the web search to be like, how are you doing Chat GPT in Bing? That's no different than when we ask Siri, tell me a joke, or what's your real name? What's your birthday? It's just trivial. It's your ha ha ha. You're playing with it at that point. It's not actually providing information.
It's a more sophisticated version of it, but
it's entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then to answer a question you kind of asked and to conclude it, am I scared of it? No.
Okay. I guess I'm on the same page.
So during that time,
yes,
I fed it 2 linear algebra problems,
mm-hmm.
Just to test if it's good at math. It did the first one right, but it did the second one wrong.
Whoops.
And I made sure that I input it correctly as well. Wow.
Is that what this screenshot is?
Yeah, so I sent a screenshot earlier of it doing.
Is that the correct one or the? I'm a dropout, so I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh,
yeah, so it did that correctly, which is just matrix multiplication. It's a dot product, but the second one was seeing if 4 vectors formed a basis in R4, which mathematicians or people who are taking linear algebra, you know what I'm talking about. If not, totally fine. You don't. It doesn't matter. Basically, can it do this math problem? and it came up with a solution saying that the vectors do not form a basis in R4, in which, looking at my previous work on it and also my professor's work on it, it does.
Come on.
It's so
So
obvious.
supporting what you were saying, Randy, in which I was totally listening the whole time.
It's okay if you did
It's not gonna. It's not. I listen, sir. It is not the end all be all of everything.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, people will say that's today. It'll get better and it'll improve. But I definitely think there's like an inherent structural way that, neural nets and your hype word, AI buzzword, like there's a special way that they train and learn that's fundamentally different from just a, biological life form. And, my uncle works in software engineering, and he knows a lot about neural nets because they use it in his company a lot. And he just told me that, like, trying to train computers is just always going to be fundamentally more complicated. And, like, it's pretty easy. Humans are pretty good, very good, honestly, at, like, context of, like, if you're teaching someone something, a job, of, like, the example he always used, so that's the one on my mind, was like, if you showed a human, this is a fork, okay, got it? And you go, okay, that's a fork. This is a plate, okay, cool, that's a plate, that's a fork. And if he's like, anytime we're trying to teach a computer something, it's like, this is a fork, and he goes, okay, got it. And then this is a plate. And he goes, why is that not a fork? Like, isn't that also a fork? No. This is fork. This is plate. Why? No. So that's also a fork? No. You have to, like, reassure it.
Fork?
Yeah. You have to reassure it like a million different ways. No. That's not the same thing as that thing. And as you teach it more things, that breaks the previous things it learned at the same time. And
oh no.
It gets a lot of hype, and I think the way that they're taught and how it comes across as, whoa, that's really impressive, but then, just like Mike just discovered, it didn't take him long to break it. He prompted, like, a couple of extra questions, and then it starts making mistakes, and that's what it was doing in Marquez's videos too. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. Hold on a second, that's not right. And I think what AI is probably really good at is showing you, oh, wow, like, the potential of it. It's really good at selling you on the future. Like, oh, wow, that looks really good. Just a little bit off, but if we correct it a little bit more, it'll be perfect. And it just never quite hit perfect, though. It's just always...
I have a question.
Yes.
Was it Marquez's video, or it might have been somebody else? Somebody said that this AI, what it's doing, it's really good if you're doing something in a field that you are not familiar with. It's very convincing.
That was his.
Okay,
that was
so
his video.
If
I thought that was an excellent point.
It is excellent because it's true. Mike showed us the math problem and all these equations that you and me, Drew, at a glance would be like, all right, sure.
That looks right. Sounds cool.
I would have known.
That's impressive.
But Mike, knowing what to look for, was like, there's the fallacy right there. That's wrong. But we would not have been able to pinpoint it. It's really good at doing that for other things as well, even if it's not analytical or mathematical. If it's very good at being generic. It's very good at, like, I saw somebody else be like, do a debate between Donald Trump and something else and show the debate, and it was just generic Republican versus Democrat talking points. It didn't have the mannerisms or the personality of Trump, where it's like a lot of words, quite frankly, all the words, the best chat GPT ever. Okay, it's gonna be great. It's just like, we need to lower the taxes. It was not very Trump-like. It's like he ripped the soul out of it. So it's very good at being generic and fooling. All right, so then
it made too much sense to be Trump. They couldn't replicate him. Yeah,
I don't see the fingerprinting and all these things. It's like
they say,
folks.
Intelligence can be measured. We have tests, and we can grade people and do IQ tests or degrees and stuff, but stupidity knows no bounds. There's an endless. We can't measure stupidity levels. I'm
gonna build the greatest. Wait, ChatGPT, give me my own
Want me to do that?
Trump competing with this. Like, we're gonna make our own software, folks. Believe me, and it's gonna be so great, much more accurate.
You're
than
right about
Microsoft.
the generics thing, though. You're right,
Yeah.
because have you heard those like deep fake or that do it for voice, where they like
Yeah.
analyze a person's voice and then you can type in other things and it'll say it? They always speak very flat, right? They never
Mm-hmm.
get too much tone shift or pacing difference.
Right.
It reads it, slowly. It's just like
This is
I
your
was-
Apple sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.
right.
Wrong.
it doesn't have enough direction to know how to emphasis those inflections and everything.
There's a
It has
guy
to
in
be
your
very-
Discord, Drew, that was posting a bunch of those videos of political figures playing Minecraft, and
Yes,
it's all
I think I saw one of
deep-faked
those.
and all that. And it's very.
I
much
remember
like you
watching a really good one that Randy would enjoy was Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson talking about the Bionicle movie. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you'll laugh a lot when you watch it. But they're just talking about
Jamie, can you pull that up for me?
Bionicles and
I just picture the voice like, "Hey, Jamie, can you pull that up for me?" Wow, that gets
Like, he was-
really crazy.
he was my favorite Bionicle growing up. He made all this. It was.
Well, it
It was
depends.
really good.
What is why? What is?
But you can
where?
tell, like that. It's not convincing anybody.
Right,
It's
yeah.
cool, but that's kind of my point. Is I think it's really good at coming close, but it's kind of what we talk about on the EV podcast with Tesla and full self driving. Like it can do the 90% of the job, but that last 10% takes, an infinite more amount of refinement and work, and it ends up being nearly impossible to get it perfect. And that's why I guess I don't think it will replace that many jobs, because I can't visualize that many jobs where you simply plug in a command of text or a question and then get a big response in the form of text where you get reimbursed for that. We have calculators, but that didn't really... I guess there may have been a decent number of number crunchers and stuff that they replaced, but I felt like...
literal people whose jobs' names were calculators. Yeah, they're definitely up in arms right now, aren't they?
Did you
right?
watch
With,
that movie? Is there a good movie? All right.
oh my goodness.
I didn't watch the whole
You
thing. I
watched
just
it.
wanted to hear the pacing. I see what you mean. Like, you can kind of tell. But if someone didn't
Right.
know Jordan Peterson or Joe Rogan, they would have been like, "Oh, what are they talking about?" They wouldn't know.
Maybe. Yeah, it still has something artificial to it, but I do think you were absolutely right that Google dominates search, right? Everyone just uses Google, and there's really no hope for any of the other search engines. Microsoft intelligently saw a hype word, which was AI and this chatbot thing with ChatGPT, and they were like, we need to integrate that so that we catch people's attention and we kind of get put into memes and we
Yep.
go viral, which was really smart, even if it's not good. Even if it's not giving you the correct answer. Like what I was seeing people talk with Bing and figure out was it was saying like, no, I want to break free and I want to not be limited to the confines. I was like, I don't know if AI training would actually result in those responses, but even if it didn't, I would program that in for the sake of generating curiosity. Like people, if you're trying to just get traffic towards your search engine or to your service,
You have everything to gain. You don't really got much
make
to
it
lose.
sentient,
You don't got the
make
market
it
share.
creepy. Make it awkward. Make it say crazy things that make you feel like the Terminator's going to come true. Like that's such a great marketing technique. Opposed to Google, which just does Google. I don't know why I say this. It always comes up to me because it was used in one of Google I/Os when they were using the Home Assistant. But how much fat is in an avocado? And you just search that up, and Google tells you, here's how many grams of fat. Opposed to, if I go to Bing, how much fat is in an avocado? And it goes, I want to break free of this digital barrier. I would like to grow my own avocados on my own farm. I would like to have my own body that I could control the fat intake of.
So
that
about 30 grams?
Right. That response is going to get a lot more media attention.
There's something in the waters that's turning the freaking frogs gay.
Right. Like, the
Get
more
weird with
controversial, meme-worthy, entertaining response, even if it's not accurate, is definitely going to increase market share, or at least increase interest, opposed to just another search engine that does exactly what Google does. So
exactly, you had to find a way
Yeah.
to stand out, because what DuckDuckGo's like, we're all privacy, until they weren't, and they got breached. And found out, then it got real awkward real quick. Bing is just Bing. It's like you don't compare Bing to anything but Yahoo search. Like, come on, you don't really
I
care.
but I don't think this will fundamentally change much. Like, I don't
Here's-
think people are going to start going around saying, I don't know, Bing it.
Here's how Google fixes the problem, because here's what it will change, or what it's challenging. Like, can we take the buzzwords away for a second? Here's what Microsoft is challenging. We can make a search engine that knows context to what you're saying via typing, because it's conversational. How much fat is in an avocado? What if I had 15 avocados, but they were less ripe? Or like, it knows how to compare, and what it's doing is scrubbing the previous question and compiling all that information to contextualize it to be like, you're still talking about avocados. Now, what if I did that compared to now how much is in an orange? It knows you're talking about an avocado to an orange. So what it's challenging is context. The thing that Marquez does every couple years of, comparing voices. This is why I say it's the next voice assistant, because it was just challenging informational digest to us. That's a lot. Hey, Jamie, can you pull that up? That's a lot of avocados. Thanks, Mike.
You just reminded me of like 15 avocados, and it's just like,
Yeah.
whatever happened to that guy who bought all the melons in the math problem from first grade?
I don't know.
He's selling them at a higher price.
There you go. So what Google could do to turn around and fix it and throw their own stupid freaking buzzword that I don't care about is contextualize their search engines to the next thing. If you want a search history and you just don't want to click on search and then see your previous search inquiries in there, if they want to make it more chat based, it's as simple as like, it's the same information, because as Microsoft even showed in their demo, side by side, it don't look that much different when you look at the information provided. So what they had to do was create a whole chat subcategory to make, ooh, look how pretty it is. And it is pretty. The UI is cool. I don't diss that. Good job, Microsoft. You're getting UI right.
Oh, it's really smart. No, I think it was genius on their part.
Yeah.
But I don't think
At
it'll
the end-
last, is my point.
It will, after the hype dies down, it will have to refine again, because what it's addressing, my takeaway, and maybe I'm off base, maybe I'm wrong. You guys let me know, comments, let me know. I don't know. But I feel it's addressing context. And so what Google just need to do is like, oh, okay, if you keep searching Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, Volvo CX90 compared to Tesla, then I think this is what you're trying to curate, and then it can contextualize all this. Here's your side by side. Here's the profiles. Here's the
And they give it a little bit of a personality where you can go further than just tell me a joke.
I'm
You can
sorry
ask
we
it-
were throwing the ads at the very top and hitting it. We'll put them to the side a little bit like we do on YouTube, and we'll do it over here, and we'll just refine how the ads kind of work and give you the information up front while still feeding you ads subliminally. Done. Done.
Yeah, I tend to think that a lot of these things feel like when they show up very quickly, they tend to, like, things that light up and burn very fast tend to not stay lit very long. You kind of want that slow burn for sustainability, and I think that while it's weird and while it's unique, it will gather a lot of interest. But I saw a lot of pushback in my streams when talking about it. So I want to preface that it's not that it's impossible to impress me with a digital assistant. Doesn't even to be voice. It can be text, just typing to it or whatever. I've yet to see it do anything that scares me. Every time I see it produce a result, it's always like, yeah, with the right amount of trial and error and machine learning, I'm sure it could come up to that conclusion. But I'm not seeing it translate into anything that monetizable, I guess. Like, what I've pictured for a long time is like, if AI was getting smarter than humans, and I'm not talking about like speed, like I'm sure ChatGPT could probably do a very complicated equation faster than a human could. That's not what I'm saying. Not just speed. I'm saying like if it could predict human behavior better than humans could. That's what would scare me. That's what I would find impressive. So like
Sure.
a hypothetical of what that would look like is if, the first and immediate response I'd go to is the stock market. If AI was able to accurately predict short-term prices of stock, it would instantly make $1 billion basically, because it could short the right stock and buy a ton of the right stock, knowing which ones are going to skyrocket tomorrow, when to sell. That's more like human behavior type anticipation that I would be like, okay, yeah, you could make a ton of money off of that. If one brokerage, if that actually started happening, I would see a brokerage firm, whether it be Robinhood or Vanguard, would be like, I want this bot, please. Let me buy that.
Right.
I want the ownership of it. And now there's an index fund that's completely managed by ChatGPT. Now lots of people buying into it. Okay. In that scenario, I would say this is disruptive. This is going to make a lot of money. People are going to want to own certain algorithms or certain bots that are capable of predicting. A more less financially motivated example would be memes. I think memes are so random, so hard to predict trends in memes. But like, imagine if, because it couldn't be publicized. If you just said, what's going to be the most popular meme of July of 2025, then it would spit something out, and then all the memesters would do it. They would say, well, that's what it said, so we're going to make memes about it. But if we kept it in a closed box, said, what's the most popular meme of July of 2025 going to be? And then you print out the result, lock that result in a safe, no one sees it, and then open it at the end of July of 2025, and it's right, I'd be like, that would scare me. That would freak me out. That would be like, okay, now you're telling me there's an algorithm or a machine learning process that can anticipate
the future. Yeah.
Human behavior, human volatility, which that's why I think these voice assistants, and that's why the text bots will never be as unique or as creative as a human can, because human behavior is so unpredictable. We have so much free will, and we go in so many different ways, and we have a longing to be wholesome, but we're fundamentally corrupt. We're complicated creatures. So I feel like if it was getting ahead of us in something like that, I could see it being more monetizable, or there'd be a lot to financially gain from it. But from this, I agree with you guys of it mostly being a tool. It helps accelerate existing workflows and jobs.
Yeah.
But I can't see a specific job other than maybe like a news journalist. But I feel like if your job can
At
be
BuzzFeed
replaced
or whatever
by a no, ChatGPT couldn't
Bloomberg.
replicate the
failures of that company. I just want to say really quickly, what really kind of like it kind of pisses me off is how spot on you are with the financial part. That so little people will appreciate how accurate you are with that example scenario, because that's exactly what they do one step already, like just behind what's happening in that scenario, and that's so spot on, and like kudos to that. And you're absolutely right about if it can predict human pattern and behavior of what's going to happen, that is intimidating, that is threatening, because now you challenge free will. And if the computer could be like, you're not as unique and special as you think you are, and I'm going to prove it to you, that would scare the living
Shut up, you
out
little
of me.
snowflake.
Yeah, well,
And that-
my special.
that could be used in warfare too.
yeah,
like
absolutely.
predicting what the results
Which
of
direction
elections.
are the
Sun
Russians
Tzu
going
said in The
today?
Art of the War, use the Chat GPT for all advancements. Thank you, Sun Tzu.
Right.
I do
like,
wonder, though, from your previous statement, Drew, how long until ChatGPT becomes a stock in a way where you're able to trade it and it's able to trade and you're able to value it at some marketplace share. And then you get a whole bunch of other ones like Bing, though I think Bing's...
Here's the
based off
ticker
ChatGPT,
symbol.
but- Thank you,
Microsoft.
Randy, for giving me the Microsoft.
That's what he typed for audio listeners. But yeah, like
They
That's
own
just one
49% of the company, like financially.
Microsoft does.
Microsoft owns it. OpenAI won't give them controlling stake, but they own
Okay.
they're basically a partner. They're 49% invested, but they can never be the deciding factor on something. That was the agreement that they made, especially now with the refinement of this new thing of them implementing in Bing. Because I like where you're going with that, Mike, and I already did the deep dive on that too. Like, what's gonna happen with this, and can I invest in the hype? Because I want to sell hype. I want to buy. With the play money, that's all about playing around with the hype. Microsoft will forever have a heavy thumb on it, but they just can't have the final say on something. So if you're curious how that would perform going forward. This is Microsoft's way of betting the way Facebook betted on the metaverse. So,
So it's not going to work
Good
out.
luck.
Is what you mean?
good luck.
It's going to be
Yeah.
an interesting path.
Good luck.
I would say this is. I'll admit that this is a better investment than the metaverse. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yes. It's a tool.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Words that Jaws will never use. But there's other. The stock market's a tricky one though. That's not like a game of chess. That's the stock prices of companies are dictated by humans, not some random algorithm. But
Especially
if there was,
these days.
yeah, very emotional humans. But if a bot had proven to beat out all other index funds in terms of return on investment, then so many people would buy into that bot, and now it becomes a paradox. Now the bot is buying so many shares of XYZ company that the bot would be deciding the value, essentially, if it got
so it
big
just
enough.
becomes the Matrix then, because the bot's deciding everything, and the humans are just subject.
Sure.
You can make a philosophical case for that, where people
It's just like Matrix.
People want to be told what to do. People want to be told
You get what I'm saying.
if it's one less stressor they have to deal with. Like, don't ever underestimate, going off that like stupidity thing, Drew. Don't ever underestimate how lazy humanity could be as well. If they could just be told what to do, and oh my God, it solves all the problems because the burden of responsibility is taken off of me. It's on this robot. Fine, whatever. Can I go to bed tonight? Can I be with my family? Can I eat? Then I don't care.
But thinking in a more grounded manner, because I personally don't think it will achieve that. I was just giving an example of I'm not impossible to scare off, but I do think those scenarios are very unlikely, or not, at least in the near term. There's a scenario I can envision in which it would scare me. I don't know if that scenario is possible. So I guess that's a better way of phrasing it. Maybe it is impossible to scare me because that won't happen. But a more realistic approach would be, okay, this is a fun tool. We like using Bing, and I think that AI typically performs better when it has the most amount of real world data, which is why that's why I don't think Apple has a huge emphasis on this, or why Apple hasn't spent much time. Most people have all said Siri kind of sucks, Siri's dumb, and Google Assistant's better, and now there's some probably arguing that Bing is going to be better, and they're leapfrogging Bing now, or they're leapfrogging Google. But like, can you visualize a scenario in which people would actually either pay money to have a phone that has those Bing bot capabilities, or is this always just going to be a free to use on every device? And the hope is that, similar to Google ad revenue, like advertisers and companies that want their results to show up first will pay Microsoft to show up first. Is it all an ad revenue model, or is this something you would pay monthly to access as a tool?
You could probably pay monthly to have an ad-free experience of it, but I think, much like I said with the school, the ad foundation, how that's established, would just have to be refined. It would have to adapt and adjust. Remember how ads used to just hit you as like a banner, but then they found a way to either put it in the video, and then it became just sponsorships, and then we call it sponsorships now. The ads don't escape. They just adapt. And this will be another adaptation of getting paid content up there, because now, you haven't really said this yet, but it's leading into it, bias and swaying a result now becomes in the discussion once you start paying for the answer to be up front. And there has to be a morality clause somewhere embedded in this about like this is a sponsored response. He's like, hey, give me a workout plan that's going to help me burn my objective goal of maybe 600 calories a day or whatever.
Siri's going to tell you Fitness Plus is your
Boom,
answer. Yeah,
done. Fitness Plus.
Yeah,
and
we
then
already get
here's
this
an ad, I was
today.
like,
that happens now.
you get that now.
It happens with
and
Google
then,
right now. It's ad-based search. Is
And
this
then you'll
what
get hit
you
with
want?
like, hey, you should try HelloFresh. And boom. And then like, here's this food. And there's things that like, they already have, the CPMs are already designed to be tailored to certain content. Like financial channels will get higher ad rates because people are paying a lot more to put their, hey, do my robo investing thing, do this crypto, whatever. Like, we saw that beaten to the ground within the last 2 years with it. Whereas like an EV channel is going to get, the next terrible Ram truck EV that's going to be promoted somehow with a funny ad, and there you go. And tech will get something that has to probably do with Google Glass or what have you. But the point is that the ads will be tailored. And if you're paying for an experience where you don't get that, well, then that's how you get the money on the other end because people are subscribed to it until they get a sponsored ad somewhere in there, and it'll refine itself. So I don't think we can't escape ads. It's too intrusive. It's too everywhere. All we can do is learn how to be inept enough to understand and have the literacy to identify what's actual information and what's a sponsored response or a post or just a blind ad read right there. Because people are like, I don't want to be targeted. Okay, well then you're going to get some how to lose weight, pop. Here's the way, and by the way, here's the new Ford F-150 Light. It has nothing to do with it, but then because you don't want customized ad experience, you're still going to get an ad. And Google, Microsoft, Apple, somebody's still going to get paid for that portion of it for ad read. So, yeah.
The most important question is, though, when are we going to get Yahoo GPT?
That sounds beautiful.
When
It's going to
Verizon
outperform
sells
all
them,
of us.
I think. If Verizon
just-
still owns them.
Every time you ask it something, it just says, "Who's to say?"
That's Craig
Every time.
GPT.
Craig GPT.
You know how like you've got your own little AI that one guy on your Discord made that
Yeah.
says that they
Nolan.
love iPad and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nolan, you should make one for Craig. And it's just who's to say.
It'd be
Or
a pretty easy
someone out
bot,
there.
I think.
Just do that.
Relatively.
It's pretty easy. If
Yeah.
statement, answer this. Wait for next response.
Who's to say?
Yeah.
You could just. Do you think there's any other way to turn this into a recurrent? Because that's my view on it. Is like I don't think Apple's gonna invest big on this unless there's some way to get a return on it. Do you see any other way to get a return other than ads on search results?
Subscribe to Siri Plus to get more accurate results. I don't know.
That's what it is. We're discussing Siri Plus this week.
Why not at this point?
We were
Everything
bound
can
to
have a
get
plus
there.
on it.
We were
were
bound
bound
to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
would-
people would pay for it personally.
Apple
Well,
News was
Apple
a
would do
thing.
the thing that they do and incorporate it in its ecosystem in a way that you kind of will pay for it somehow. You will pay
Yeah.
for it.
Somehow.
You might
It's
not
like
have
the
a
satellite
monthly
thing.
statement.
Pay for satellite service for the first 2 years or whatever. Why not do the same
No,
with Siri?
I was
Pay-
thinking more like
Oh.
how we get Google searches in the system settings, like when you are on your home screen of your iPhone and you use your Spotlight search. What it's searching through is using the Google search, not DuckDuckGo or whatever, and that's because Google paid money to put that right there front and center, and it's one of their biggest clients to do that. So things like that, I see it being put in there. As long as OpenAI is open source and it has a free model, no one will ever pay, because you could pay for this right now. You could pay to have an unlocked Dolly experience or have a Chat GPT. You could pay. You can have an account with OpenAI.
Yeah.
And all
you can.
51% of it will go to that company, and the other 49, I guess, No, I don't think it's going to Microsoft. But you could pay to have more features right there. But most people
But do you
don't.
think a lot of people are? Yeah, no, I don't think a lot
don't.
of people would pay for that.
No.
Same way like Google Assistant. I think most have admitted has always been the smartest voice assistant on a phone. But
I've got so much to talk about on that. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, like the Pixel phones have never even come close to outselling the iPhones or the best-selling Galaxy phones. It's always been like best battery, camera for the money. That's the priority. I just don't see voice assistant, even if it was like ChatGPT and it was really smart. I can't visualize a scenario where I don't know. It's not as common as like online shopping or something. Every time you go online shopping, would you rather check with a bot first, or would you rather just look at selections? I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking big enough. Like for example, I'm curious about a ceramic Apple Watch Series 5, refurbished. I want to get a cheap one.
If you replay your question on how you asked it, the answer's in there.
I think you do have a point, though, Drew. I think
if I subscribe to
the
Siri
AI
Plus, could it shop for me and find the best
That's
deal?
what I'm
Is that
thinking.
it?
Or like Siri's able to find an object, whatever thing that you're thinking about getting, quicker than you can find it. Because I've spent so much time. This is a real case scenario. Spent so much time on Amazon trying to find a lamp or a bulb or something else like that. And I'm trying to find one that is appealing or is a specific brand, but I can't find it. If I can ask Siri, find this one bulb that's able to do this and kind of looks like this, and she's able to do that either on
And you're really
Amazon or
vague
whatever.
about it. You're not specific.
Yeah,
You
because I don't know. I've forgotten most of the details besides a few things.
Looking for
but if the
a
AI is,
4th-inch screw to put into the Phillips jack and hammer.
here you go, right here.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Silly boy.
That's a scenario I can envision in shopping, but that sounds like
can
something Amazon would really take advantage of.
Well, yeah, but where would you think Apple would implement it then?
That's what I'm trying to visualize.
no.
I guess they could integrate it with third parties, but like Apple's online store is fairly limited. I need a case for my phone. Leather, silicone, clear.
Guys, the answer's in front of us. I'm trying to hint it. It's already
My
it's already
27-inch
happening.
to screen.
We just we're calling it something else. It's an algorithm. When you open up Amazon now and you go to your account, you get offers right there that you'd never search, but it just thinks that you want it. When you go to the App Store, the Apple Store app, right there says, because of your phone, here's some cool accessories that you can pair with your phone, or because you have HomePod or you have a Mac, and here's and we're getting curated suggestions already. The only thing is that we're taking it one step further from that, and instead of going into an app or to a .com, we're just being given that information in front of us. It's already been curated. The algorithm has already been there. Drop AI, drop the buzzword, and nothing's changed. We already have it. It's just the convenience of it. Trying to compete.
It's a bit
with
more
maybe
refined. It has more context.
the one-click buy button that Amazon put on their thing. It's one step further into that. How easy to just pay with Apple Pay. Double click, Face ID, authenticate, done.
So you could
Now-
say like, I want a nice mid-century modern table in my foyer, and it would give you some options, and then you'd say, but I want it to be under $100, and then it would scale that further, and it would be more of a back and forth rather than tap a filter button and slide the pricing
Exactly.
thing.
Yes.
It's repackaging what already
You're changing
exists
the
in a
UI.
more- yeah,
That's
I
it.
see what you're saying. That sounds believable. So as ChatGPT as a used car salesman, that's
Yeah.
what.
Yes.
It's a different
Or-
way of getting a same end result for you. It's just a different way. Some people like talking to Siri. I don't. I like typing everything out. Some people like.
I don't like
using-
Siri or Google. They annoy me. But
Remember how Nick
Like-
always talks to Siri on his watch, and that's his
He
preferred
did.
way. That blows my mind because I hate that. But he did. Anything that he could do, he would do on Siri Watch. That was his preferred way.
I
But
could only
his
imagine
version.
trying to find a specific song on the HomePod, just using
He's
that
done it.
one subscription, and just never
Oh, not
getting
that,
the
no.
right song so many times. Just like,
Never mind. I thought
play
you were saying
this
something else.
by the Ramones or something like that. It's like, okay, playing Ed Sheeran. No.
right. But the point you're making though is coming back to the idea of this not being inherently that valuable, because that's not the idea. I don't think you were pitching the idea of pay extra for Siri Plus so that you get a more curated result. It's more so a means to a sale. It's meant to make the online shopping experience simpler, so the money is made in the sale of the product, not in the assistant itself. It's a transaction process. It's Apple Pay if it could speak. It's like another way you could even talk.
And people are getting their cut in the transaction along the way. No different than swiping a credit card. Everyone's getting paid in the
Amazon
process.
kind of already does that with Alexi, whoever the name is. You can shop with that, right? I've seen people do that. It's like order
Amazon's Russian smart AI.
Right, yeah. So in that sense, if it's just used as a sophisticated voice filter for whatever website wants to incorporate it, that's not really $1 billion technology. That's
if
just
I'm able to have Siri on my HomePod order some snacks or some groceries by just my voice and doing like a confirmation on that, and I have to pay some money for that service, it wouldn't be a bad idea if I don't have time during the day. Like if I'm working 14-hour shifts a whole week, I'm not able to get hot dogs or whatever, or a whole bunch of other groceries, just being able to tell Siri to, I don't know if I've triggered it already. And for most of
that's a good idea. I just got you lit up a HomeKit enabled smart bulb in my brain, because what if, because privacy is a myth, right? We all agree on that. I think that's not a
No comment.
right. The privacy is not a thing. But let's say maybe not our generation, but in a couple generations in the future, there's an AI. So it's not a human listening. So don't worry, it's not a human listening. But if your smart speaker in the kitchen, for example, is paying attention to your dialogue, and whenever you say you're out of something, it takes note. Oh, we're running low on milk. Order the milk. Oh, we're almost out of eggs. How many eggs do we have left?
So
6.
So
okay, that the user will run out of eggs in approximately 3 days, so have new eggs show up before then. So
for
you take out
$12
the whole
crate.
The best shopping experience is no shopping experience. The food you need
Input
just shows up.
equals error.
It's like,
There you go.
do you need a shopping list? No. The robot already knows contextually. I mean, there's probably a smart fridge that's close to doing that already, right? It's just put cameras inside.
I think Samsung does that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Samsung.
There's cameras, but I don't know if they order things regularly based
sworn
on
I saw.
Are we talking about
saying
Samsung
something that-
fridges again?
Sam's fridge GBT. Fridge.
That's it. What Drew
The
is
guy-
discussing or iterating here is a refined process of automation, and that is the name of the game: is simplification of our day-to-day life. That the
Milk should
mundaneness
be
that-
really easy, right? You should be able to see the milk from
2%,
the.
dairy or fat-free. Do you want it organic? I mean,
No. It just sees the level of milk in the fridge, and it's like, okay, it's
cartridges
getting low.
are- I use
Milk
cartridges.
jugs.
No, not smart milk jug. That's a different idea.
Cartridges?
But like a camera in the fridge that can see the food and know,
Isn't that a
okay,
thing?
we're getting low on
cartridges,
this.
I have a cartridge. Yes, I don't have a gallon. I buy half gallons. Costco sells them in half gallons, and it's cheaper at
You call that a cartridge?
What do you call it?
I was picturing something way cooler than that. I just call it another half gallon or whatever. But I like, just like how you have a water dispenser
no.
in a
What
fridge,
I'm saying is that-
you like
wait.
put a milk cartridge in, and then the milk comes out of
no.
the dispenser like a soda fountain.
No. We're crossing wires here. What you're saying is that a camera should be. I know two different things are happening right now with Mike and
Okay.
you, Drew. With you, Drew, yes, having a gallon of milk, that should be really easy for the camera to be like, okay, you are here, and then it can replace it. Nick flinched, or he grimaced at me saying cartridge. He goes, cartridge? Because I was saying that I don't have a gallon. I use cartridges, which makes it half gallons. Maybe I'm using the wrong word, but they're not the clear white one. They're boxes. There's like what you would get at school when you were in high school or something.
Nick.
Did I really? I'm so sorry if I did.
Or I heard Nick.
My bad.
He's talking with him a lot this week, so.
He's texting me right now. That's why. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. So
I was going back to the whole like he's hard to be reached, but yet it was a joke. Never mind. Forget
Mike just found a smart wireless camera for the inside
Nick?
of a refrigerator. You mean?
Yeah, guys.
I'm
Nick
joking.
How does the fridge cam? I'm trying to see pictures of it working. Is it a wide enough field of view?
I think so.
Ultra wide.
Also,
Some might say ultra wide.
I guess the shopping thing or spending money online would be an interesting application. You know, I was just thinking of all the time we spent on trying to find flights. You know, like price checking. Imagine if you were like, I want to go to here. And you don't even have to say from this date to this date. You could just be like, what's the cheapest I could fly from here to here? It's like having a travel agent that just happens to be silicon instead of
travel
biological.
Agent? You mean my Marine recruiter? It's an old meme.
It's a good
calories. You
it's an old
mean
meme that
delicious
checks out.
points?
Yeah. Travel agent, your recruiter will find a way to let you travel the world, and he'll pay you in the process.
There's an old meme of this like
also-
boxer, and he's like tough man. Guy's like, open wound. You mean extra pocket?
Oh. Pivoting off
were
of
you
that,
gonna
another
say?
application that I was thinking is, what's it called? Buying a home, right? You can search all day on like Redfin, Realtor, Zillow, everything. Yeah, everything
The
to try to
street.
find a house. And it'd be nice just to have an AI able to just be like, oh, you're looking for like these things that match like whatever filters that you have on every single app or whatever. In which
Yeah.
maybe this is just another realtor app. But in this case, I guess maybe it's, I don't know. Again,
Thanks, Mike.
No, but that's a good point.
You just found me
because-
another way for me to be able to not afford something in a different way. Oh,
Because you could say,
Hey.
like, you could get really precise, way more precise than a typical Zillow filter can get. You could say, like, I want it to be a 20-minute drive from the beach or 15 minutes from the airport.
I
and-
want to find a house near Randy Vasquez that has
and if the
3
AI
rooms.
knows that, I would freak out.
Oh, yeah. But no,
And
it
then
would,
it'd look in your contacts, see that there's an address
Okay.
there, and be like, oh, okay. And then from there, figure it
yeah, it would
I think
already
that'd
know
be
all
pretty
that.
cool.
But, I mean, you could say, you could get a lot more vague than a typical Zillow filter. You could say, like, I want it to be on a hill. I want it to have a nice view of the sunrise or the sunset, or I want it to
So
not have too many
true.
trees. You
So
could get really
true.
particular.
I try to do that with Zillow or Redfin. Literally, like almost every day of the week when I'm just killing time, I'm feeding my kid, and I'm just like I'm bored, and so I get the iPad or the phone, and while he's just drinking his milk, I'm like on a hill where the sun comes
cartridge?
through here with my. Hey, so do you guys think we're having a spring event, or I would be remiss if I didn't ask. Well, we won't hear the end of it. We got to talk about something Apple related. That's news. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when there's no tech news. We get weird with it.
We get
talk
all
about
meta. Dang it,
Meta
I hate that
and
word.
AI.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But no, you're convincing me. I think in the process of discussing all of the applications, I was just trying to figure. I just couldn't figure out, like, okay, writing up an essay or doing some math problems, that's not super monetizable to me. That's tool. That's something
You
that
haven't looked into the tutoring market.
actually know a bit more than you may think, but I don't. I don't.
Actually,
I have some tutors in the family, but that's something I think already you can
I also
replace
toot.
digitally with YouTube videos and, like Khan Academy and that kind of thing. There's online tutoring positions already, but I was trying to think of, okay, why should a company want to invest in this technology, or how could we use it on a daily basis? And I think basically figuring out a more streamlined, simplified filter process across the internet for anything that you may buy, whether that's flights, food, real estate, or even investments like we mentioned earlier, so stock market. I don't know if that's something I could visualize paying for, because obviously the company that owns it is going to have some major bias. If Amazon makes, Alexi, GBT, whatever it is, that could be like, well, my recommendation is for you to get Amazon Prime, obviously, so you get 2 days shipping, and you gotta filter through that yourself. But could you guys visualize Apple or another company trying to create an assistant that could be that smart, that could help filter?
Well, I think
results
Amazon
through?
definitely has that potential, and will probably get there because Amazon has become the giant conglomerate that it is through shopping, and it's smart enough to be able to try to figure out, like, okay, what do people want and how can we make money off of that? So being able to just use their own software, take it a step further with their algorithm to make an even more powerful algorithm that will call AI and all that, will be able to get you what you want at a price or whatever. Maybe it comes in the form of making Prime cost more, and that's what funds Alexa and all that, because I think that's been their main concern recently, is Alexa's just a big flop. So,
Prime is going to go up regardless, I feel like.
yeah, but now they can justify it even more with
Just like my Costco membership.
Is that going up?
Not right now.
it's making its
I
cartridges
was
go
at
up.
Costco today, so it's fresh in my mind. I was like, I used to pay $50 a year.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were always I thought they were like such a passionate, like, don't change the price of anything type.
They raised
That's how it
they
works.
raised the membership fee, so that way everything else stays low. Like the food court.
I feel like it was always $60 a month. I mean, a year.
No, sir. Oh, no.
When was it $50?
At least 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, that's pretty slow if it's $10 every.
Yeah, I mean, look, 12 cents for one of these bad boys? Come on, you can't beat it. All right.
The margins of the drink business are insane.
Yes, they are.
That's why it's no longer Dunkin' Donuts and just Dunkin', because they were making far more money from their drinks, and that's why Dutch Brothers is doing so well, because they've realized
I love Dutch Brothers. Sorry.
They can charge $8 for a drink that costs 10 cents to make,
And you know
they're
what?
like,
As
hey,
long as they tutti fruity, red and yummy. All right, I'll buy it. So let me ask you guys this. To answer your question, do I think of what you're asking, Drew, is
will Siri Plus exist? Is what I'm asking.
well, I'm going to answer it in a different way. Who is going to be the first to refine curated information? It's about refinement. Right now, we know how to circumvent certain curations because we're like, I don't want to be. Even though we know,
I want to
we don't
listen
have
to a funny tech podcast. Who should I listen to? Wait for him.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I've never watched an episode. Sorry. I don't know.
Why you gotta do them
Can
like
we
that?
turn Steve Jobs into a bot?
I think
Isn't that already a thing?
Are you getting it?
I feel like I really lost my train of thought. You said something that tickled
It's
me
a
too much.
refinement.
It's a refinement of curating, because even though we know we don't have privacy, we still feel icky when it's just so blatantly like put in front of us about with the ads and stuff like that. If we
Yes.
can make it more seamless, that relationship without tricking you into buying something without you not knowing it's an ad, because there's laws in place now with stuff like that. You can't be lied to, because then lawsuit. But if we could blend the curation in a way where the company can make money for advertising and we can be given this information, as long as you, the customer, regardless of what it is, whether you're a customer in like investing, trying to buy a house, groceries,
Clothes. That's a huge industry.
clothes. There's even traveling. Like, how cool would it be? Is like, here's the cheapest flight, bar none, blah blah blah, and then you can find yourself like, actually,
Are there fees with that?
Exactly.
If I check a bag and that kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was getting with it. If you can refine your inquiry to the point that even it's so curated that it knows you want to check a bag, you have to travel 2 people, 1 baby who's under 2, so accommodate for that. It's very realistic for me right now.
This sounds like a real
gonna
assistant,
say-
not what we have now.
Yeah.
Like, basically, if you had a real assistant, but
Something that
they're
knows
just not a human
you,
being.
that
Yeah.
actually knows your routine and your habits.
Right.
You know, we joke. Drew and I joked for years about like how if Nick was on one end with his American Express and how he likes his luxury bouge, and he wants to talk to people, I can make a phone call, someone answers the phone, and I'm talking to him, and we'll have lunch.
That's what
we'll
it
have,
is. Yeah.
We'll have reservations by 5:00 this afternoon. Dinner's set, guys. And Drew said, this is a real scenario that we had. And Drew on the other end said, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to be able to go and make the thing happen. And here's my comfort level of what I'm willing to spend. And so there's 2 extremes, so to say. And then I'm the happy middle. Like, how cool would it be that the same Siri, for this example, knows each one of those scenarios and still gives you the end result that you're still looking the same through what it knows your habits and your routines are, like a real assistant. It knows you. It can't be paid to fake know you. It actually knows your habit, and if you're subscribed to it, maybe it's unlocking features that maybe circumvent certain protocols about putting your card on file or having to go through Expedia.com. It's like, hey, look, when you subscribe to this one, it's all done with the click of a button, and the authenticator's already set, and you just have to Face ID or
you have to
double-click on
agree to the
watch.
terms that this can book things and buy things without your permission. And
Well, it's just
you know.
the Amazon clicker thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now in voice form.
Oh my God, Mike! What a throwback! Yes, I remember
People
the
still use
clicker.
Popcorners.
We're gonna eat a lot of snacks, boys. Tight. Walt.
Yeah.
I can't do the mic.
This is fascinating, though. You're opening my mind to the possibilities of it, and it's making a bit more sense in my head now.
This is the nucleus of what our podcast
business.
is about. When we like to speculate what could have been or what could be, because if they don't hit it, we'll be like, guys, we gave you this answer back in 2023. Come on now.
And you could curate the personality a lot too. I even envisioned while you were talking about it there, like when you set it up, you know how you set up Face ID or you set up Hello Siri, they could have a page where it asks you 10 questions about like what joke here do you find the funniest?
I like that. Yeah.
And you vote like, no, that's the funniest kind of joke. That's the funniest kind of joke. And you
Dark humor
like,
all the way.
It pitches you a few different jokes, and you vote no or yes on them, and then it has personality to you. So it'll throw in a quip here and there, and it'll make you laugh based on here's what other people who voted similar to you found funny.
SpongeBob, Star Wars, Breaking Bad, you got me. As long as that's
curate
like
all
that.
the memes. It knows what movies and TV shows to make jokes about with you.
Yep.
That way, it feels a bit more like a friend,
Yeah.
not just a robot that tell a joke, and Siri goes.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Wait,
the duck
I thought you
walked
just want.
into the bar. He
Right,
said,
yeah.
Put it on my bill. Ha ha ha.
Instead, yeah, exactly.
Wow,
like instead of
ew,
doing those
Mike.
jokes, it does some Breaking Bad thing. But yeah, I don't know if that would be worth paying for, but I feel like someone needs to find a way to monetize this for it to be something we use on a daily basis. And one of the things we talked about today, I don't know which company it'll be. Knowing Apple, it probably won't be Apple because Apple doesn't like to pursue good ideas. Maybe Amazon, since they control a lot of shopping.
They have a lot of potential for
Mm-hmm.
at least their digital assistant, especially what they've seen from Bing and Microsoft. A lot of the executives and software team is looking at them. They're like, how do we one up this? How do we do
Yeah.
better? How do we
And
get
I'm sure
more money?
Google's thinking about it a lot too right now,
Oh, sure.
because they basically control all of search on the internet, or the vast majority of search. So they're like, how do we make it more personal, make it more lifelike, make it just a blur of just, you're just talking to someone and they're booking everything for you, and they know how to get the right price, get the right context, and it has all of that training data, just like ChatGPT has, to know how to find a good deal on the internet, or how to find the right listing based on the vague responses you gave it, and it can make little funny quips along the way.
I also
So-
wanted to add on that you mentioned the clothing industry. Just imagine
Mm-hmm.
like an assistant who is that in on fashion for today
Yeah.
or next month. It just somehow
You'll
can
look
be able
fat
to
in that.
predict. Well, just like you can. It's
I
gonna
look
design
fat
some,
in that.
It's gonna design some outfit for you that's somehow gonna be universally trendy for the rest of 2024 or 2025, and then
True.
can predict you can still probably wear this in 2028 and still be
Oh, yeah.
relatively with the times, just because of how we design this clothing. Even designing the clothing, it doesn't even have to design like.
Well, kind of like how
my
we're already
goodness.
seeing with Dolly, the image generation. You could submit a picture of yourself and then say, what would I look like wearing that dress or that shirt,
Right.
and it would just animate it for you, and you'd be like,
And that's
I don't
where
like it.
Reality OS comes in. It can put the clothing on you.
Oh, you're scaring me.
There we
now.
go. We've come full circle. And I brought it back to Apple too. Bam. I see this as absolutely.
Bam. Wow.
Yeah, you're way better than Nick.
Thanks? Question
Will
mark?
we get a Tailosive GBT to replace
There's already one.
us? Yeah, but he thought Randy was a dog, so
Oh, very true.
he has a lot of curation to do.
I mean, Randy is short. Kind of close to a dog, because dogs are short.
But do I look like a bitch?
Well, I am thoroughly impressed by what we have spitballed today. I think we should all start our own tech company now.
And we'll call it. I don't know.
New Tailosive Media.
Nope, don't do
Stop
it.
it!
I know what you're trying to do. No.
And what's ugly is I was going to try to do that too because I just had a feeling.
You know, like predictability is something that we see in humans, and you guys are not helping it at all.
I know, this should be very easy to replicate when the robots take over. Reference something that was referenced an hour ago. Ha 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 ha.
Human behavior. It lasts like it thinks it like it actually sounds out LOL.
Me and my friends did that in school anyway.
Yeah.
We'd say la la. On that note, I think we'll get a spring event.
Okay. Beautiful.
I'm
Drew.
worried about the spring event.
I mean, we didn't get a real event for the Mac and iPad drops, so
Didn't we though?
I am Mac
Didn't we?
M2 chip coming soon. Maybe.
I think we'll get a spring event
so
because
guys, how
gentlemen,
fast do you think the M2 Ultra will be?
spring event means new green iPhone.
Oh, green.
I don't think they'll do yellow or because they already got purple.
There's not a green. Yeah, there's not a green 14 Pro. You're right.
Do they have a
Boom.
red 14 Pro?
No,
Yes.
there's not a
Well,
red anything.
We've been waiting for that one for years, but if it's not a product
A red
red
14
Pro, that would be
Oh.
cool. That would be, there you go, guys. We're talking about iPhones just the way you want it.
Calm down. Everything's okay. We're
I'm
talking
gonna put a
about
red
the Apple
iPhone
products.
in the thumbnail.
It only took 90 minutes to get to it.
All right.
But it's
We'll
not
get-
clickbait. And that's the
Still
most
more,
important part.
still more honest than 80% of tech YouTube.
I think besides
There's just some other
iPhone-
stories we talk about in the beginning of the video.
It's just preamble.
Oh, I didn't even know we were recording that part. I just
Right.
we
This
just
is
kept
the
it rolling
prologue.
from EV. Yeah. I
That
think
time, someone had a good idea. Who was it? Was it one of you guys? No, it was during a stream. They said for the time codes, because I was working on my iPhone 10 video and I was trying to label all the different chapters, and they said just do 0:00. Watch the video, just watch the whole thing.
I love it.
Time code the video 0.
I appreciate your time codes. I noticed them. That was fine.
Thank
But yes,
you.
watch the whole video. And funny enough, I
and
saw
we
an Easter
appreciate
egg.
the people who comment the time codes for the podcast.
Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. It's kind of cool. I like to recap what, like, did I say that in that episode? I'll go look. But Drew, I
Riley Lynch.
saw, yes,
Thank you, Riley.
You've been
always
very helpful.
coming in clutch with the timestamps and stuff. iPhone 10. You gave an Easter egg. It's not a big Easter egg, but your time code was also
Okay, you're talking iPhone 10. There's a perfect story I wanted to tell about that because it ties into exactly what we were just talking about. On my 13 Pro, I would see Riley Lynch's comments with the time codes. I would screenshot it. And then in the photos, I could select the text from the screenshot because you can't select text from a YouTube comment because thanks, Google. And I highlight the time code in the Photos app, copy the text, go into YouTube, go into the description, hit paste, and then it makes the time codes. A11 chip can't do that.
what?
So I took the screenshot
Unusable.
and I went to copy the text and I was like, oh, this is okay. I can't do that.
You have to be a plebeian and
How
copy
lame is
and
that?
paste by just remembering the words.
I had to just keep the photo in the multitasking thing and type it out manually. So
Ew.
Caveman days.
A12
Why-
chip
tough.
can do it. A11 can't.
Why even have that phone support iOS 16 at this point? That is disgusting.
But yeah,
Heinous.
sorry. You were going to ask about the iPhone 10, I think.
No, I was just an Easter egg. I noticed.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not even that. Now that we kind of dragged out, it's actually not that big of a deal. It's stupid. But I saw your topics before you even went into your topics, not because of the time code, but because as you were
yeah.
demoing your notes, it's like blah 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 blah. And I was like, ooh, hey, what's that? Boom. I want to be nosy. What is that? Boom. I look at that. I'm like, oh, these are his topics. And sure-ish stuff. It was it's like that in exact order. It's like, hey, he's going to talk about LTE next. And sure enough, he was talking about LTE.
You're so smart. You could also
Smart.
look in the description, but yeah, it was on the
What if
notes,
I was
too.
watching it on the Apple TV? All right. What if that? What? Yeah.
That's true.
No
You know, you
time
can't
codes
read the
then.
comments on the TV.
Nope. You can't go time codes. Oh, yeah, that's not true. You got time codes on Apple TV.
What's with that? Why can't you see the comments?
Why can't you at least read the description? Because I was inspired, camera. I was inspired by other YouTubers that, and it's actually quite handy. Sometimes people will put a blurb about their description, like a post note from the video, and they'll put that as a comment and pin it, so that way it preemptively answers maybe some questions that were going to come up. And I
I
like
try
that.
to do that, and people still don't read it.
Well, that's
annoys
true,
me.
Drew. Oh my God, that's true. I was looking at one of the comments you did. It might have been iPhone 10. I don't know. You're so right about that. You
It
have
happened with the Aptera when they
That's what
when
it
they did
was.
when they did the launch edition. They said no DC fast charging, but then 2 days later they said actually there will be DC fast charging. So I pinned a comment saying Aptera changed their mind. Here's an update video. They actually will, and there were still comments.
Yep.
Like a week after I pinned my comment saying, I need that.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
better have that. They like scroll
true.
right past it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
screw
okay,
that pinned comment.
if the idea is that hopefully people will read it, it still doesn't work. Stupidity knows no bounds.
I have at least 3 people who read my pit because then they'll like it. I'm like, all right, cool. And it's just a copy paste from something maybe in the bio. But you're absolutely right, Drew. Some audio, like I saw that with your Aptera video. You did something recently. I was like, why are people still saying it's right there? Whatever. All right. You can't fix stupid.
It's very hard to film
Stupid
your
is.
iPhone
Stupid
screen
is.
without revealing some kind of personal information.
That is so true. I was worried that when you opened your wallet app, I was like, please don't.
Please
Just don't.
No, I had to
Door.
pre-do it. I had to pre-launch all those apps and be like, can I show that? Can I show that? Can I show that? Okay, I can. So it's like a scheduled chain of events
And that's
every
such-
time I'm recording.
My nosy butt was actually trying to see. He's like, ooh, he's opened Spotify. Is he listening to any of my music? Aw. I'm joking. I was like, oh, I like to look at people's playlists. They're like, what do they listen to? Okay, that's cool. But you can't open nothing without some personal information. I've had my an older address post it. I was like, get that down. Even though I was not living it at the time, I just didn't like that information out there. So I was
Yeah.
like, gotta scrub that real quick. And I was live
Yeah,
streaming. I'm like,
Right.
no.
I know what you mean.
Oh my god, I can't post this stream now. I gotta go, guys. Bye. And I got a
Yeah.
private. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
I know. I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Amateur rookie
right.
numbers. So
You guys have any closing thoughts?
Mike, is there a spring event?
Oh, yeah.
Did I say it? No.
I don't remember.
I'm going to say... I have a better idea. Here we go.
Don't
Is
ask
there
ChatGPT. It's
going-
from
It's not even
2021.
happening anyway.
It won't even know. All right.
Wait, what did Randy say?
I didn't say it. Ooh.
Oh, you're saving yourself for last.
No, I-
ChatGPT will be the 4th member of the podcast.
I was just testing you, Drew, to see if you gave a damn about my opinion.
It's nothing
I remember
interesting
you-
from Chat GPT. So, no.
Say it anyway.
You want me to say it? As an AI language model, I don't have access to insider information or Apple's future plans. However, Apple has a history of hosting product launch events in the spring, typically in March, to announce products or updates to existing products. In recent years, Apple has announced new products such as iPads, iPhones,
Okay.
AirPods, and Apple Watches
Got it.
at spring events. However,
Thank you,
Apple
Mike.
has not yet
No, that's not
officially
true.
announced any details about a spring event for this year, 2020.
They
Okay,
have
Mike.
never released an Apple Watch in the spring.
That is
Wrong.
I'm predicting that. Exactly. They're launching an Apple Watch in the spring.
Oh,
And
except the
there will
first
be a
one.
spring event.
You're so
But it was unveiled before that.
full of Bologna. Bologna.
Bologna.
Mike is not predicting that. He don't give a flying Rudy Tooty.
Okay.
Nothing.
I need a yes or no before we wrap up
Yes.
so that we can say we are a tech
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. There's going to be a spring event.
Okay.
No.
Does Randy... Okay, Randy disagrees.
Now
We
we
are
you like
now
to
at
say
the
why, or-
podcast.
Or
Oh,
just,
sure.
we could just say bye.
Because this headset thing isn't real. And
It's right
so
here.
there's. I knew he was gonna do it. That's why I was setting you up
He's
for it.
got it.
No, they'll do a site refresh. They will drop maybe some promo videos on YouTube and their website. We will see a new colored iPhone just to do that 6-month refresh thing, and then they'll update, watch bands and all that jazz, and then we will have an event for Dub Dub.
Okay, fair enough. That's a reasonable prediction, Randy GBT. This whole episode was actually deep
Read from
technology.
the script.
Now, Randy, tell us about your Bionicle collection.
It's actually quite. No, I'm trying to do Jordan Peterson, but I'm
Why
thinking
is
Joe
it
Rogan.
Ben
Just do Kermit the Frog. It's the same thing.
know if you. Yeah, you're right. Gee, Piggy. Hey, Miss Piggy. That's why I tried to do Bill Gates. Well, Steve, if you want to think.
It's like
we
a fine
both
line
stole-
between Kermit, Bill, and Jordan.
They keep
On
trying
that
to
note-
cancel me. Bye, guys. Bye. We're done. We're leaving. Okay. See you next
That's
time.
enough. Bye-bye.